When I was being groped by a client, Julian was sharing a toast, in a suggestive manner, with his female assistant right beside us. To avoid offending the client, I drank until I got alcohol poisoning, feeling so sick I could barely breathe. Yet Julian didn't even spare me a glance. Instead, he was focused on picking onions out of a dish for the assistant, coaxing her to eat properly. After the dinner ended, the assistant said she was bored, and he immediately kicked me out of the car, ready to take her out for the next round. Sophia's been working hard lately, I'm taking her out to relax a bit. You wouldn't understand what young people are into anyway. Don't tag along. Also, I plan to let Sophia have a blast tonight, so about getting the marriage license/certificate tomorrow, let's postpone it. We had been married for 5 years, but not legally registered, and this was the 99th time Julian had unilaterally cancelled getting the license. I nodded. Since he was always so busy, perhaps there really was no need to get the license anymore. From the half-lowered passenger window of the car, Sophia stuck out her tongue and apologized to me. Sorry, Eleanor, it's all because Julian is just too good to me. When he gets back, I'll definitely make him bring you a late-night snack. Before I could respond, Julian stroked her head with a smile. Kid, you're such a sweetie, thinking everyone else is just like you? Don't worry about her. Don't want her faking some poisoning or allergy later. I don't have time for those games. So, he hadn't missed how much pain I was in, he just thought I was faking it out of jealousy again. Usually, at times like this, I would have broken down crying, trying to explain and argue with Julian. But this time, I said nothing, just offered a simple instruction, all right, you two have fun then. Julian paused, startled, then his teasing expression returned. It's best if you don't make a scene. The car sped away. Before leaving, Julian, perhaps worried Sophia would feel stuffy, thoughtfully rolled the car windows all the way down. I got carsick easily, especially in Julian's car. But he never agreed to lower the windows for me. Dust gets everywhere with the wind. Can't you stop being so dramatic? Understanding dawned on me. I took off my wedding ring and threw it into the dark city river. The next morning, I went to the Symphony Collective early to hand over my work. Ever since Julian debuted as a piano prodigy, I had always been his manager. You're leaving? Does Julian know? Mr. Bond asked, surprised. He'll know when the new manager arrives, I said. I left the office and walked to the performance hall. I ran into Julian, wearing a new shirt and smelling of body wash. He rotated his wrist and looked down at me. I drank too much last night, wasn't good to drive, so I got a room by myself. That's why I didn't come home. This was the first time in 10 years Julian had offered me an explanation without being asked. I nodded, saying nothing. Temporary assignment this morning? He asked. I looked up at him, remembering how, after every dinner party, I would get up at 5 or 6 to prepare a big table of hangover remedies and soothing breakfast foods for him. It had been like that since Julian debuted at 18, so it wasn't surprising he was confused when he didn't find anything at home this morning. I just nodded, something like that. As I was about to leave, Julian, who had been frowning slightly since I arrived, grabbed my hand, his face dark. Eleanor, that's enough. It's just rescheduling getting the license, not canceling it. Don't be ridiculous. But I wasn't being ridiculous, and I genuinely wasn't planning to get the license anymore. Thinking it was better to be direct, I was about to answer when I heard a sweet, slightly complaining voice. Julian! It's all your fault. That stuff you bought me this morning, the size was totally wrong. That kind of stuff isn't nearly enough for me. Julian is just too much of a typical guy. Sophia stood not far away, hands on her hips, stomping her foot, her cheeks puffed out with anger. When Julian saw her, he quickly pushed me aside and hurried over to scoop her up in his arms. His tone was urgent and serious. Running around barefoot during your special time, do you have a death wish? Fragments of memories flashed through my mind. Earlier this month, I had severe menstrual cramps, curled up in bed, begging Julian to buy me pads and painkillers. He frowned. Me, a grown man, going to buy that stuff? Every woman goes through it, just deal with it. Honestly, such a hassle. By the time I came back to myself, Julian had already walked away, holding Sophia. I withdrew my gaze, suppressing the dull ache in my heart, and picked up my phone to contact the headhunter who had long wanted to recruit me for work overseas. After booking the flight, a notification popped up on my social media profile/feed. A post from Sophia specifically tagged me. It was a short video clip of a large hand slowly rubbing her lower abdomen. In the background, she sighed, "Julian, your hand is so warm." The caption read, "My typical guy brother feels bad about my period cramps, says he'll help make the ouchies go away. It feels so good to be cared for like this." The girl's intentions were crystal clear. I liked the post, then went back to my own social media profile/feed and took down the profile background photo of my wedding picture with Julian. Today, other large orchestras were here at the performance hall for an exchange performance. Most of the handover work still required me to supervise. I was responsible for receiving the musicians and taking them to the lounge to settle in. A group followed me, and immediately saw Julian inside, feeding Sophia at a table. "Wow, I heard Maestro Julian married his manager, Ms. Eleanor, a long time ago. I didn't realize they were still so affectionate." "Exactly. And a pianist's hands are. He's so precious, yet he's using them to pick food for his wife." Yes, for a pianist, their hands were the most important thing. That's why for 10 years, I had taken care of everything for him, terrified he would get even a minor scratch. And now, he was using those hands to cater to another woman. The non-stop admiring comments around me finally reached the two of them. Sophia saw me at the front and immediately complained to me tearfully, "Eleanor, look at Julian. He's forcing me to eat liver, he's making me fat." Julian didn't even look at me, gently wiping Sophia's mouth. "Be a good girl, eat this, and then drink the ginger tea too." The chatter around us instantly stopped. I met their awkward gazes, maintaining a smile as I guided them to their seats. After everyone was settled, I took out my phone and continued booking my visa appointment online. Julian appeared behind me at some point. He saw my screen, his brows furrowed, his tone questioning. "Visa? Who are you getting a visa for?" Before I could think of how to answer, he suddenly grabbed my hand, his tone overflowing with surprise. "Eleanor, where's your ring? Don't tell me you accidentally left it at home." I knew why he reacted this way. For 8 years of our marriage, my wedding ring had never left my finger. But he never wore it outside. Coupled with the previous events, a flicker of unease clearly crossed Julian's eyes. He squeezed my hand tightly, staring directly at me. "Talk to me." I planned to tell him the truth, but then I heard a sudden sharp cry from Sophia. "Ah! It hurts so much, Julian." Sob, sob, sob. Everyone turned towards the sound. Sophia had fallen near the grand piano, and on her outstretched palm was a bleeding cut. Julian shoved me away and rushed over to hold her. "How could you be so careless?" Tears streamed down Sophia's face as she hid in Julian's arms. She looked towards me, tearful and scared. "I don't know." Sob, sob, sob. "Eleanor was supposed to have checked every thing last night. I don't understand why there was such a large piece of broken glass on the piano lid." Sob, sob. "Julian, it really hurts so much." Julian's gaze fell on the piece of glass stained red on the grand piano lid, and his face was clearly enraged. The next second, he glared at me and roared, "Eleanor, have your schemes gotten so vicious that you're trying to hurt people now? Get over here and apologize." Ignoring the contemptuous looks everyone else was giving me, I walked over to them. "I didn't do it. If not you, then who else? Everyone in the Symphony Collective knows how controlling you are. My piano is always personally checked by you, isn't it?" Julian finished his furious accusation, then without a word, picked up a ceramic couple figurine next to the piano and smashed it on the floor. He then grabbed my hand and pressed it down onto the scattered fragments. My hands instantly became bloody, countless shards embedding themselves in my flesh. "This is your lesson this time. No one is to help her clean this up. I'll wait for you to reflect properly, and come apologize when you've thought it through." With that, Julian picked up Sophia and left without looking back. My eyes became uncontrollably sore, my vision blurred. My tears fell onto the broken ceramic fragments. The wounds hurt, but my heart ached so much I could barely breathe. The two little figures on the ceramic piece were shattered into pieces. The small written vow, placed inside the figurine, had fallen out. This figurine was something Julian had specially commissioned from a church, or a place of special significance where they made vows, when he proposed to me. Back then, the boy's eyes were only on me. He said, "Eleanor, I made a vow before God, we will be together forever." But now, he had personally broken that vow. I carefully gathered the fragments, and together with my memories and lingering reluctance, I threw them into the trash can. As I passed the main hall, Julia N had just finished his performance. The hall was filled with loud applause. Julian, looking radiant and full of spirit, came down from the stage and took Sophia's hand, bringing her up with him to bow to the audience. This kind of peak moment for an artist, Julian had experienced it many times. Not long ago, I happened to overhear Mr. Bond asking him, "Eleanor has been your manager for so many years, putting her heart and soul into it. You're partners and married. Why not bring her up to bow with you just once?" Julian's tone was dismissive. "I got to where I am purely through my own talent. She's at most riding on my fame, and she's getting older now, I can't exactly show her off." My gaze returned to the stage. Sophia stood beside Julian, smiling brightly. The lights shone on them, they did look quite compatible. Just then, my phone notified me of a message. I had received confirmation that my visa application was approved. I was halfway through packing at the apartment when Julian returned. He tossed a half-empty bottle of brown liquid at me. "Medicine for you." I picked up the bottle. I had seen this bottle of iodine earlier. In Sophia's social media profile/feed, Julian had used it to treat her wound. But I was allergic to iodine. When Julian debuted at 18, his exceptional talent already showed hints of a master, making waves everywhere. An influential musician in the industry was unhappy about this and deliberately hired someone to cripple his hands. Back then, I had thrown myself in front of Julian as if I didn't care about my own life. Although I only suffered minor injuries, a colleague in the Symphony Collective accidentally used iodine to disinfect me. I immediately went into anaphylactic shock and was rushed to the hospital, where I was in surgery for nearly a day and a night before being saved. Colleagues said that for as long as I was in critical condition, Julian cried outside the operating room. And when he came back later, Julian had a hug. Outburst, throwing away all the iodine in the Symphony Collective and establishing a rule that it should never appear there again. I never expected that now, he himself would be the one breaking that rule. I lowered my gaze and threw the iodine into the trash can. Julian saw my action and merely gave a cold, indifferent scoff. "Use it or don't." A message notification from messages and calls chimed. Julian looked at his phone, and his expression softened again. He instructed softly, "Kid, make sure you don't get the wound wet. You must avoid certain foods for now. When you're better, brother will take you out for something good to eat." Perhaps surprised by my excessive quietness, Julian glanced at me several times out of the corner of his eye. Finally, he couldn't help but speak first. "What happened today was just to make an example. After all, you know there's a lot of dirty business in the Symphony Collective. Punishing you like that was also to warn others. And my caring for Sophia now is also to prevent you from being gossiped about." I nodded, neither arguing nor explaining further. "I understand." Julian was clearly taken aback, a strange feeling spreading in his heart. He wanted to say more, but I had already walked into the bathroom to pack some toiletries. In a conspicuous corner of the sink/vanity, a pair of pink lace underwear that didn't belong to me lay there. Outside, Julian's phone played a voice message. "Julian, I forgot the little underwear I changed into in your bathroom this morning, sob sob. Could you bring it over for me? Also, I really love the smell of your body wash. Could you bring me a bottle too?" No wonder Julian was wearing a shirt color he usually wouldn't wear this morning. The body wash scent on him was also the kind he didn't normally use at home. He really listened to her. Julian walked quickly towards the bathroom while listening to the voice message. As soon as he entered, he saw me and the pink intimate garment by my hand. His gaze flickered. "Sophia wasn't feeling well this morning, so I just let her wash up here." "Okay." I didn't react much, just moved out of his way. Julian packed the intimate garment and was about to leave, but then suddenly stopped. If you're going to overthink this, then I won't deliver it for now. I waved my hand, indicating I didn't care. Julian hesitated for a moment, then Sophia called again, urging him. After hanging up, Julian told me, I'll be back as soon as I deliver this. You can make an appointment too, we'll get the marriage license/certificate tomorrow. With that, he left in a hurry. After finishing my packing, I casually scrolled through my social media profile/feed. Sophia had posted pictures again. The first was of a clearly jointed hand testing the water temperature by the bathtub. The second was a selfie of Sophia with the side profile of the man behind her, focused on washing her hair. Brother says I can't get my hands wet because I'm hurt, so he's helping me wash my hair and take a bath. Why do I feel kind of shy? I moved my bandaged hands and looked back one last time at the apartment I had shared with Julian for 8 years. Julian's message arrived just then. Something came up. Can't make it back. Cancel the marriage license appointment for tomorrow. In my heart, I thought, it's fine, I didn't make the appointment anyway. I grabbed my suitcase and left, taking a taxi to the airport. I sent Julian a breakup message, then turned off my phone as the plane took off. 5. I had the most peaceful sleep I had ever had on the plane. Upon landing at the airport, the overseas orchestra that hired me gave me the highest reception. Welcome aboard, Ms. Eleanor. Someone as outstanding as you, your joining is an absolute honor for the Symphony Collective. Mr. Bond, the orchestra's manager, didn't hold back his praise, and the orchestra members looked at me with starry eyes. This kind of treatment was something I had never received. At home, every time someone, whether from within or outside the group, wanted to praise me, Julian would invariably scowl. No one wanted to offend him, and I didn't want him to be unhappy. Over time, I gradually became invisible within the Symphony Collective, reduced to someone only noticed if my name was linked with Julian's. Mr. Bond introduced me to the pianist I would be managing. The man extended his hand in a gentlemanly manner. His face looked somewhat familiar. Hello, Ms. Eleanor, I'm Ethan. It's a pleasure to work with you. I finally remembered. 10 years ago, in the competition where Julian debuted and became famous as the champion, Ethan was the runner-up. Over the years, Ethan had practiced and performed diligently, his reputation in the music world at home and overseas growing, his skill now nearly matching Julian's. I was very happy to work with such an artist. After the welcome dinner Mr. Bond hosted specially for me, I checked into the apartment the Symphony Collective had arranged. After settling everything, I finally had time to turn on my phone. Dozens of missed calls, messages and voicemails flooded in, nearly crashing my phone. And the source of all these messages was Julian. What do you mean you're breaking up? And who authorized you to switch out my manager without my permission? Eleanor, is this some new trick of yours? No wonder you've been so quiet lately. To pull off this stunt, you're even willing to take down our wedding photo from your social media profile/feed. I really underestimated you. As I scrolled through the messages, Julian called again. I reacted too late, and my finger accidentally hit the answer button. The voice on the other end sounded inexplicably relieved at first. Eleanor, weren't you being all tough and not answering? Can't keep up the act anymore? Do you have any idea how much your reckless behavior has impacted the Symphony Collective? Sophia thinks it's her fault. She's been crying for days. You'd better stop this little prank quickly and come back and apologize to her. Otherwise, I might have to seriously reconsider getting the marriage license/certificate. Julian's tone was cold and full of self-satisfaction, as if he had me cornered. I laughed. You don't need to bother reconsidering. Julian, I already told you, we're breaking up. With that, I hung up the phone, blocked Julian's number, and his messages and calls. I opened my social media profile/feed and posted a statement. Mr. Julian and I only held a wedding ceremony previously and never got the marriage license/certificate. We have now officially broken up. Thank you to all my friends for your concern. As soon as this post went up, the comment section quickly filled with comments from many friends, all of them sticking up for me/voicing outrage. What? Julian, that guy didn't get the license with you for 8 years. He wasted 8 years of your life and didn't even give you any commitment. What kind of person is that? What's the use of having high artistic achievement if your character is so awful? I'm going to boycott this jerk. Some colleagues from the Symphony Collective also sympathized with me. Hugs, Eleanor. Some scheming homewrecker has been pulling these little stunts for ages. Congrats, beautiful, on leaving that jerk. Shine on your own. Exactly. That little schemer named Sophia will get what's coming to her. Shine on, sis. Many people were cursing Sophia in their comments, and I was grateful for their support. But this kind of thing takes two to tango. Julian was the main reason. Explaining this was also my way of officially cutting ties with the past. But what I didn't expect was for our issue to end up on the news reports/trending topics. Someone on social media profile/feed, unable to stand it any longer, leaked my statement along with photos of Julian and Sophia's usual intimate interactions to the reporters. As one of the top figures in the music world, Julian was already a highly scrutinized public figure. With the scandal breaking, Julian's image plummeted. Along with him, Sophia also became a scheming homewrecker everyone reviled. Many reporters contacted me asking for interviews, but I refused them all, wanting only to focus on advancing Ethan's career internationally. However, I didn't expect Julian to try every possible means to contact me again. 6 When he called me using a friend's phone, his voice was clearly weary. Eleanor, I admit you won. Now Sophia is completely ruined by the stuff you released, and my career is also affected. Come back and hold a press conference with me to clarify the misunderstanding, and then we'll immediately get the marriage license/certificate and make it official on social media. That should satisfy you, right? I briefly wondered if Julian had lost his mind. Otherwise, how could he still not understand what I was saying? I almost laughed out of exasperation. Julian, I've been telling you all along that we're breaking up. Just pretend I did it. We've broken up. Stop bothering me. Ethan was next to me. Seeing my expression wasn't good, he asked me with concern. His voice carried over the phone, and Julian's tone became furious. Who are you with now? Why is there a man's voice? So this is why you betrayed me. I couldn't be bothered to say another word and hung up on Julian's interrogation. Colleagues from my old Symphony Collective occasionally sent me updates. Julian had fired the new manager without even meeting them. Sophia was suspended by Mr. Bond. She used to boss people around, relying on Julian's protection, so the entire Symphony Collective was celebrating her suspension. As for Julian, no one could find him, no one knew where he had disappeared to. I just treated it as gossip. Unexpectedly, Julian actually tracked me down to the location of my new Symphony Collective. As Ethan and I got out of the car and walked towards the performance hall, a figure suddenly rushed towards us from the side. My first instinct was to shield Ethan. Looking closer, it was Julian. His eyes were bloodshot, his hair messy, and the radiant aura he used to have was significantly diminished. Seeing me protectively in front of Ethan, Julian's eyes were filled with disbelief. Eleanor, you're protecting someone else in front of me now? Otherwise? I'm Ethan's manager now. If I don't protect him, should I protect you? I retorted, but Ethan gently pulled me behind him, positioning himself to protect me. Julian, Miss Eleanor has broken up with you. As her ex-boyfriend, please show some basic courtesy. Julian instantly became enraged. Ex-boyfriend? I'm her fiancé. Who do you think you are to lecture me? He looked at me and scoffed. Eleanor, after 10 years together, you're now staging a show with another man to get back at me? Your heart is truly cruel. Fine, I admit you've achieved your goal. Isn't it about getting the marriage license/certificate? I brought my papers. We'll go get it right now, and then you immediately come back home with me and stop this charade. Julian finished speaking and reached out to grab my hand. I couldn't take it anymore. The moment he stepped closer, I slapped him across the face. Julian's head snapped to the side. It took him a long time to turn back to look at me. The hurt and shock in his eyes were obvious. A corner of my heart involuntarily twitched with pain. But I held back and stated clearly and seriously, word by word, Julian, this is the last time I will tell you this, seriously. Please listen carefully. I am not making a scene, nor am I playing some kind of hard-to-get game. We are completely broken up. I will not be your manager anymore, and I will not come back to you. From now on, we go our separate ways. Let's both find peace. After I finished speaking, I pulled Ethan and walked into the hall. Behind me, Julian's hysterical shouts followed, Eleanor, are you really deciding to stay with someone so mediocre from now on? Only we can achieve greatness together. If you don't turn back now, we're truly over. No matter how he yelled, I didn't turn back once. As I walked into the hall, Ethan, who was beside me, suddenly took my hand. Eleanor, trust me. One day I will surpass him. An excellent manager like you doesn't need him to prove anything. I nodded. I had no doubt about Ethan's current skill. At most, his fame in the industry wasn't as great as Julian's. With the right opportunities to showcase his talent, Ethan's excellence would be seen by the world sooner or later. I just didn't expect that day to come so quickly. Every orchestra has its performance schedule for a given period. That day, after the closing performance officially ended, I was standing backstage applauding Ethan and the other musicians. Ethan on stage suddenly looked at me, then walked towards me with steady steps. My heart rate unconsciously quickened. Just as I was wondering what he was doing, I saw him take my hand and walk towards the center of the stage. Ethan brought me with him, allowing me to truly experience the stage bow, something I had yearned for 10 years but never had. The lights from the ceiling shone on us, and the audience below applauded enthusiastically. I finally felt the honor that should have rightfully been mine. I silently said thank you to Ethan. He just smiled and said, "This is what you deserve." A warmth welled up in my eyes. I lowered them to hide it, but just happened to glimpse Julian in the first row of the audience, his eyes bloodshot, staring intently at us. The next second, he stood up and rushed onto the stage. Maestro Ethan put on quite the show. You'd think his skill was amazing. So capable, huh? I wonder if you dare to compete with me live right now. I had never seen Julian lose his composure like this in public. In front of the audience, he had always been the esteemed, brilliant prodigy everyone looked up to. Acting so openly anxious and provocative was completely out of character for his reserved image. The audience below also couldn't help but start murmuring when they saw Julian appear. Isn't that Julian, the #1 piano prodigy? He actually initiated a challenge? Exactly! Who doesn't know this maestro is always so arrogant, claiming there's no one in the world who can compare to him? But his words just now clearly show he's bothered by Ethan. Right, that lady on stage seems to be Julian's former manager and ex-wife. Their issue caused such a stir recently. Could Julian be here specifically to win back his wife? You know what, seeing the dynamic between the three of them, it really does feel like that. The audience's interest was piqued. Although I didn't know why Julian was making a scene, I didn't want our issues to affect Ethan. You don't need to compete with him. Don't listen to him. Your skill doesn't need this kind of thing to prove itself. Ethan looked at me, his gaze intense. Don't worry about me. Everything I lost in that competition 10 years ago, I will win back today. He had made up his mind, so I didn't try to persuade him further. Ignoring Julian's strangely sorrowful gaze towards me, I left the stage to them. The two competed simultaneously on the same piece. They played on 2 grand pianos, with their sound picked up and played through the left and right speakers respectively. The winner would be chosen by a vote from the audience, who already had excellent appreciation skills. As soon as the competition began, Julian's rhythm and piano sound were noticeably more hurried and aggressive. Ethan, unhurried, showcased his usual warm and gentle style. The same piece was interpreted in 2 completely different ways. In the first half, their skills were evenly matched, and the audience was completely absorbed. But in the second half, Julian clearly ran out of stamina. His powerful, surging style, which required more energy, suddenly weakened. Not only that, but his rhythm and phrasing were off. He even made a basic pitch error. I wasn't surprised by Julian's performance. Over the years, he had relied on his perceived innate talent, his practice frequency decreasing annually. Especially after Sophia arrived, every time I urged him to refine his technique, he became impatient. He was either completely focused on playing with his little friend, or using his multi-million-dollar hands to make gifts for her, coaxing and caring for her. The result today was ultimately his own doing. When the piece finished, Julian was completely dejected, his face terrifyingly dark. The final vote count showed Ethan had overwhelmingly won against Julian. The audience booed Julian. They said he was a once-in-a-generation prodigy. Looks like he's just got an empty name. Exactly. How dare he try to challenge Maestro Ethan with that level of skill? He might not be embarrassed, but I'm embarrassed for him. Julian, eyes red, refused to accept his defeat. He gritted his teeth and said, "A bunch of tasteless ignorant crowd/fools. Do you think you're so great?" He looked at me, his expression clearly hoping for me to comfort him. I simply looked away and walked out of the performance hall, my arm linked with Ethan's. Julian lost the competition, but the consequences continued to escalate. The afternoon competition wasn't a formal performance, so many audience members live-streamed it or uploaded videos. All the netizens saw Julian's moment of failure. His long-held artistic myth was shattered. Coupled with the recent scandal, Julian's commercial value hit rock bottom. Many clients with whom he had partnerships publicly canceled their contracts. In contrast, Ethan became the new hot name in the industry, and as his manager, many clients contacted me seeking collaboration. I watched the news, feeling indescribably pleased, but also a sense of melancholy. That night, returning to the apartment, I saw Julian sitting in the GR/S near the building entrance, drunk and slumped over. When he saw me approach, he stood up and tried to come closer. I instinctively stepped back. Julian froze, looking at me with sad eyes. "Now even you look down on me, don't you?" "No, I just don't want to be involved with you anymore." After explaining, I prepared to walk past him into the building. But he grabbed my wrist tightly, hot tears dripping onto my hand. Julian's voice was choked with sobs. "Eleanor, I was wrong. The way I treated you before, it was just because those people kept saying that I only had my status and fame because of you. I just wasn't unwilling to accept why they didn't see my ability, why they attributed everything to you. The person I've always loved is you. I never thought I would marry anyone else in this life." Julian was crying uncontrollably, but my heart felt only coldness. Was this really the reason he treated me like that? Because of other people's words, because he resented my efforts overshadowing him? So he deceived and humiliated me like that, allowing his heart to wander so recklessly. No need to say anymore. It's too late now, we can't go back. Mr. Julian, please have some respect. I pulled my hand free and tried to leave. Julian tried to stop me again, but a taxi suddenly pulled up. Sophia rushed out and hugged Julian. "Julian, she doesn't care about you, but I do. Come back with me. I won't abandon you like her. I can help you reach the peak again." Julian, however, roughly pushed Sophia away. "What do you think you are? How dare you compare yourself to my Eleanor?" He fell to his knees before me, his eyes filled with pain. "Please, Eleanor, don't leave me. 10 years. My life can't be without you anymore. I truly know I was wrong. Can we start over, please?" Looking at the pleading in Julian's eyes, I shook my head. "Julian, I gave you too many chances before. You were the one who personally threw them away. Before leaving," I added, "also, your original talent, even without my help, no one could have overshadowed it. Getting to where you are today, it's all a consequence you brought upon yourself." With that, ignoring his completely dejected figure and the endless pain in his eyes, I turned and left. In the following days, Julian camped out below my apartment building every day. Sophia also followed, and the two of them constantly argued. I ended up calling the police, and they were finally sent back home. My life returned to peace. For a long time, I didn't hear anything about Julian. One day after a performance, Ethan found me and made a big decision. "Eleanor, I've talked to Mr. Bond. We're moving the Symphony Collective back home. Back to the land where you were born and raised, where you feel most at home. Truthfully, working overseas did get me away from those awful people and things. But after a while, I couldn't help but feel homesickness. I didn't expect Ethan to notice all this. I was surprised. But will the others in the Symphony Collective agree? Most of the orchestra members are Chinese. Many of them are only overseas because they had no other choice. Now, it's time to come home. And I also want to return to the place where we met, with you. The intensity and sincerity in Ethan's eyes moved me. Soon after, the Symphony Collective collectively set off and returned home. I only told a few close friends about my return. However, on the day I landed at the airport, I saw Julian. He held a massive bouquet of roses to welcome me home. It was something I had longed to receive from him a long time ago. But now, it was far too late. In front of Julian, I linked my arm with Ethan's and leaned in to lightly kiss his cheek. The light in Julian's eyes dimmed, but he still chose to deceive himself. "It's okay, Eleanor, I know you're just pretending." He cupped the roses in the bouquet with his hands, letting the thorns prick his palms. "I'll show you the sincerity of my repentance. I will atone." Blood oozed from his hands. Even as his friend pulled him away, I didn't respond a single word. "Sorry, I used you as a shield just now." I apologized to Ethan. His eyes held a smile. "Eleanor, with you, I never mind anything. In fact, I hope everything just now was real." I understood what he meant, but my thoughts were still a bit jumbled. "It's okay. There's plenty of time / the future is long. I'll do my best." Just like that, we returned to our usual collaborative mode. Under my management, Ethan further opened up the market at home. He quickly became the top active master pianist both at home and overseas, his income and fame growing exponentially. On the other hand, I occasionally heard about Julian's situation from friends and news reports / trending topics. After that meeting at the airport, Julian heard about other female musicians in the Symphony Collective being groped by clients, and he also learned that the same client had targeted me. He single-handedly sought out that client and immediately got into a fight with him. He also thoroughly checked the Symphony Collective surveillance footage and learned that everything about Sophia's injuries was her doing, framed against me. Whatever Sophia had framed me for doing to her, Julian repaid her 1,000-fold. Thus, Sophia was scalded by him with boiling water, locked in a room full of broken glass by him, and had her hair cut off by him. Someone called the police, and Julian was jailed for intentional assault. After being released after some time, Julian's mental state was clearly abnormal. He locked himself in his apartment, drinking heavily every day until he got alcohol poisoning. I then remembered what he meant when he called me late one night saying he understood how I felt. He would also often go to a city river during the day when he was sober, searching for a ring that could no longer be found. The client he had beaten wasn't a pushover either. He later found people rough illicit means / unscrupulous connections and crippled Julian's hands. From then on, he had no future in piano. Later, people occasionally saw him in a mall. He was playing random notes on a public piano with his maimed fingers. They said he kept muttering, "This is the song I wrote for Eleanor, she'll listen to it, she'll forgive me, she'll come back." A woman with burn scars on her body and face suddenly rushed to the scene, set herself on fire, and hugged the disoriented Julian tightly. "Julian, you did this to me, so let's go to hell together. Even in hell, I'll cling to you forever." News reports / trending topics about the former piano maestro being retaliated against by self-immolation stirred up a wave of public lament online. I remained focused on the work at hand. After a celebration dinner, Ethan told me that he had fallen in love with me at first sight when we first met. Fate kept us apart for so many years. I hope to be part of every moment of the rest of your life. Eleanor, will you be my girlfriend? I nodded, accepting this love, which arrived late but was precious and profound.